Hey, it's Gab Goldenberg from SEO ROI Services. I just want to talk about a few online retail trends. So, the three things that I want to get into are, first of all, place utility in e-commerce. Second of all, I want to speak about offering shipping price guarantees around the time of checkout. And third of all, I want to talk about the use of potential alternative currencies in mobile commerce in particular as a way of facilitating checkout and just increasing conversion rates. So to begin with, let's talk about place utility. Now, place utility is a concept in offline commerce generally, where you try and bring the store to the consumer. You essentially want to make it as convenient as possible by reducing the amount of travel that the consumer has to do in order to buy from you. So, for example, if you have an ATM in a drugstore or in a supermarket, that's place utility right there because they can get their cash very easily. They don't need to go all the way to the bank, they can get it right at the ATM. So, I was reading about place utility in an old marketing book of mine, and I wondered what would be the online equivalent of place utility. And the answer that came to me was essentially widget-based e-commerce. So widget, for those of you who might not know, is a little box essentially in, mostly sidebars. So for example, those Amazon affiliate links that you see often with like book. And those essentially are paying folks whenever they refer a sale to Amazon, except that they have to send the visitor onwards to click and buy at Amazon. And what I was thinking is that essentially, if you had them just buy directly through the widget, if you had like a secure widget on the website, then people don't need to leave the website and they can buy right then and there. And by simplifying the process, you probably increase your sales. First idea. The second idea that I think might be an interesting trend in online retail for 2009 is the question of price guarantees at checkout. Now, same book I was reading recently suggested that around checkout, up to like 70% of people may be leaving to go check out shipping prices on competitors' websites. Now, the book's a little dated, so it may be more, maybe most likely a little less than that, I would guess. But the point is that it's a very high percentage of people, most likely, that are doing this kind of thing. And the point is really that it's not a concern of a small minority of people, but it's this huge amount of sales losses that you're incurring if you don't satisfy this curiosity, if you don't meet this worry and reassure people. So how can you reassure them? Well, the answer that I have is essentially to guarantee that your shipping price is the best around. And if a consumer can find a better shipping price, then you will meet it and give them the difference between yours and the shipping price they found, say, at competitors. Make it easy for them to prove it. Let's say they just need a screenshot. And first of all, I mean, the main concern that some people might have is that, the cost might be too great. First of all, it's not really going to be a big deal for the few people who actually go about and do this, because most people are just going to have that reassurance and will not actually go about it the same way that mail-in coupons don't usually get mailed in. Second of all, for the increasing conversions that you get, it's almost certainly going to pay off the increased cost you might have from the few people who actually do go and research this. And then finally, it just really makes sense because you always want to assuage people's fears and just make it as smooth an experience as possible. So there's another little idea I had on online retail trends. Third point I think might be really interesting came about at this New Year's Eve party where I was speaking to this guy, Leaf, forget his last name, a friend of mine, Adam, followed through this party. So maybe Adam, or if you're watching, you can leave a comment. Anyways, what Lisa and I were talking about was largely mobile commerce, and we got into, incidentally, a discussion of what they're doing in Africa. I think maybe in Kenya or Ghana. Was that profiled in Inc. magazine. And what was really interesting is that because of particular political and security reasons, I think just carrying cash with you is not an advisable idea in those countries. They're developing a system whereby you can pay for stuff in cell phone minutes. So first of all, if you have a lot of money, you don't need to carry it all around with you. It's stored at your, cell phone provider's servers or something, or maybe in the SIM card. I'm not quite sure how the technology functions at a hardware level. But the point is that you don't need to pay using a credit card, you don't need a debit card, and it facilitates e-commerce on mobile devices because you can just see how much money each minute costs you, and then what the merchant feels is equivalent to that much. And so you can just pay, let's say, 30 minutes for a new baseball cap, or let's say an hour for, I don't know, your monthly bus pass, something like that. And it could be a very interesting approach to doing business, and potentially one that might be more secure, or less, I guess, depending on how you feel about credit card security online. But when there's less money in it for hackers to try and attack this kind of thing, the incentive is less. Same sort of reason why fewer hackers go after Macs. In any case, just another little idea that might be fun to consider if you want to increase your sales and make things easier for people to buy. Thanks. So again, if you're liking this video and you want to get more content from me, check out SEO ROI Services. Blog is at seoroi.com/blog, and I hope you subscribe. Thanks.